If I were to ask you how many parts of your business are there, what would you say? 3 parts, 10 parts, 100 parts? There are actually 12 parts of your business. I call them the building blocks of your business that you need to build. Because as a business owner, first we start as an entrepreneur. We have this creative idea, we have this vision, this idea. We want to work for ourselves. We don't want to work for the man anymore. So we leave the day job and we go into this world of entrepreneurship, which sounds exciting. What we're not told in entrepreneurial school is that it's actually really hard. There's a reason why the average small business owner, the average money they make and take home is somewhere between like $65,000 and $75,000. A high income, kind of self-employed person makes less than $100,000. I think it's right around $92,000. So, and the average household's making around $92,000 to $96,000. What that tells us is that where we're leaving the jobs and doing these things on this entrepreneurial journey to make all of this money, very few people ever make it over $100,000. Less than 12% of all business owners earn over $100,000 a year. Why is that? Because I think we think getting into business ownership and entrepreneurship, we're going to make millions, but the statistics don't show that. It's because business is hard. We have to move from being just an entrepreneur that takes the risks and takes the chances and has the ideas and wants to work the hours and do the things. We have to graduate from being an entrepreneur creator over to be a business owner. And what a business owner means, we're going to build this thing called a business. We're going to construct it. And a business has, as we build this business over time, it has these 12 different parts. And so wouldn't it be nice to know what these 12 parts are before we start, and know that as in our entrepreneurial and business journey, that these are the 12 things we need to build so that we can have, when these parts are built, we have this thing called a business that we own, and it's an asset, and we get to put that on our personal balance sheet. So 12 building blocks is what that is. And the thing about business is that these are fundamental concerns of a business. And just like this bike here, all business is the same. My money coaching business is the same as your real estate business. It's the same as your accounting firm business. It's the same as your bike business. Whatever business you have, we actually have the same business fundamentally. And a metaphor for that, it's like this bicycle. So this is my road bike, nice Bianchi. It's pretty nice, isn't it? So I actually have 2 bikes. I have a road bike and I have a mountain bike. Didn't bring the mountain bike in for a prop, but here's the thing. I have 2 different bikes and they have 2 different purposes. This road bike is meant for the road and my mountain bike is meant for the dirt. So specifically, they're different. They have different purposes, they look a little bit different, and they're 2 different types of bicycles. But fundamentally, they're the same. Why? They both have handlebars. They both have seats. They both have components. They both have brakes. They both have tires. They both have a chain. They both have pedals. Both bikes have all the same things that make it a bike, fundamentally. So that's what business is business. It's like this bike has all these components on it that make it a bicycle. A business has these 12 components on it that make it a business. But if this bike weren't assembled, we'd have to assemble all these parts to get it to a place where we can ride it and ride it effectively and that it would work the way we want it to work. So that's business. So we can think of our business like a bicycle. And again, if it's in parts, we're going to have to assemble those parts before we can have the satisfaction of what that bicycle is meant to do for us. And that's with our business. If you're going to have a business that's sustainably profitable, predictably profitable, and is working well, business is hard no matter what at every stage of business. But if it's really throwing off the type of money and giving you the time that you want, it means that you've really done a good job building these parts. But the reason why these statistics are so low, where the average self-employed small business owner makes somewhere between $65,000 and $75,000 take home a year, is because they haven't built the machine. And that's what you're going to do over the time of being a business owner is you build all the parts. It takes a little while. That's why the first couple, 2 or 3 years can be pretty complicated and difficult, and we're not making a great amount of money. But once they're built and working, then that's when this business is a machine and it starts paying us real money. And then as we grow, we get better at all these different parts, and we can increase the value of the business, increase the amount of money that we pay ourselves. All right, so what are the 12 components? Any guesses? Now here's how this works, is this red line here is these 6 are above the line, these 6 are below the line. So the 6 above the line, what that means is that these 6 parts of the business are strategic. We as the owners have to think these, design these, and really do these parts, or are responsible for these parts. And so as an owner, the first thing we're looking at here is the vision. We create the vision. We're the creator. So that's part number 1, that before you start a business, we need a vision. We need to see the future. We're the creator. We're the inventor of whatever this business is going to be. And we don't have to invent, the next electric car, but it's just your invention of how you want to do what you want to sell in the business you want to build and create your way. So how are you going to create that? What's the vision for it? And you and I might have the same type of business, but my vision for how big that business is going to be and the type of customer that I want to attract to that business and how I'm going to fulfill on those things could be totally different than your vision for how you're going to do it. So that's our job as owners, is to be visionaries and to create the vision. So that's part 1. Now, along with that is in business, you have to have something called an offer, or your fundamental offer. And as you know, I work with entrepreneurs and they're starting new businesses or they're in their business, but they're not clear, like, what is the fundamental primary offer of my business that I'm known for, that's what the business is known for. So in the Wealthy business, our fundamental offer is financial education for couples and for business owners. And that's the offer. And our offer is education. So you have to have an offer, and that's our job as owners, is we have to create an offer, we have to be able to articulate an offer. And what an offer is, what an offer means in kind of technical terms, so the distinction of that is an offer is anything that I sell you to take care of your concerns. So if money is just a mess in your household and you are afraid of it, or if it's not working for you and it's not growing and it's a little bit of chaos, my offer is I can teach you what to do to help you eradicate all that craziness and chaos with money and get money working for you so that you can start to build financial independence and financial freedom. So that's my offer to you. And you compensate me back for that offer. So that's what an offer is. It means it's an offer of help to help you take care of your financial concerns in exchange for money. That's what an offer is. And that's what business is. Business is the selling of offers. So you have to get very clear on your offer. And to know that that's what business is an operational system that allows you to make more offers, better offers, and the better your offers, the more offers you can make in your business through this operational system that is the business, allows you to scale and make more money by selling your offers to more people at the end of the day. So that's the offer. So you as the visionary creator need to create the vision for the whole business, but get complete clarity on what is your offer and how do you plan to sell it. So the second one is strategy or planning. Again, all the time, strategy is hard. What the reason why the statistics are low as far as the amount of money that business owners and entrepreneurs are making on average is because they get into business without a plan. They get into business without a strategy. And what strategy always has an end in mind. It's the destination, the target, the goal. And there's all these action steps and execution steps according to timelines that say, hey, if I'm starting from where I am today, I know a goal to where I want to be in the future, and I have a whole plan I'm going to follow to get from A to Z. And that's really what a strategy is. It's an action plan according to a timeline with sequential steps on how to hit that target. And it requires planning. So we have to be strategic in our planning. We have to look at the end in mind. We have to set our goals and intentions for the year and then figure out all the different strategies we're going to be using to be able to make sure that those things come to fruition. So we have to have strategy. What happens is that so many people get into business and they're not following a strategy to, these action steps that we think we need to do to hit those targets. We're ruled by what happens, what the latest fire is, or the emails that came in, or the text messages that came in. And so it's just trial by fire, all the time. Not a day that's according to, hey, here's the strategies for the day, here's the strategy for the week, these are accomplishments, this is how I'm going to measure whether I'm on track or not. That's all strategic. So if you're going to be in business, you have to have a strategy, especially an annual plan, an annual strategy. And I do an event once a year in November that if you want to come in and set your business strategy for next year, we do that together. So we get a real business plan and business strategy in place that for the rest of the year, it's more or less just following the strategy. By having the strategy and following it, it keeps you out of being so distracted by all the other things that are not making money for you, but are capturing all your time and attention. So it's really important that we become strategists and start thinking about that. Big businesses, obviously big strategies, but as small business owners, the strategies aren't complex, but we just need a strategy. The third one here is capital and accounting. So in my last video, I just talked, I think my last video I released, I talked about the 10 categories of money in your business. So check that out, it's really important. But in that video, I'm talking about this piece, the accounting piece, the capital piece of your business. And capital and accounting means understanding your financial statements, running your profit and loss, looking at your balance sheet, running your cash flow, and monitoring the cash in your business and making decisions according to those financial statements. Capital means that your business has to be capitalized, means you have to put money in your business to get it started. You have to put money in your business every time you're going to go maybe into a next growth phase. So you as the owner are responsible for capital. And, a new tech company might go raise capital by trying to go find VCs or, others that might invest in their business. But as small business owners, maybe we're the one that are funding the capital, meaning Christina Wise is funding Wealthy Wealthy, which is how I capitalized Wealthy Wealthy, is I used, a certain portion of my money that was over in my personal life, and I put it into Wealthy Wealthy so that Wealthy Wealthy had the startup capital to be able to run for a couple years while I was getting it off the ground. And I've capitalized many businesses, but it's very difficult to get a business really going if it's not capitalized up front. So that's capital, and that's your job. Now you can go get capital by borrowing money. So another way that Wealthy Wealthy was capitalized is with a small business loan. So I went and applied for a small business loan and got the loan. It's on my business books as a liability. I owe that loan. The business owns that loan. But I was able to go apply for the financing, and that put more money in the business that I could use to get the business off the ground and get us today where we're nicely profitable. But it was 2 or 3 years before I saw $1 of profit. It was that capital that I used to get the business, to build all these parts of the business to the place where what it is today. So that's capital. Now, another thing important to understand about capital is that you want your business to have a credit score, and you want your business to have its own credit cards. And if your business doesn't have a credit score called a Paydex score, and you're kind of commingling funds between your business and personal, we need to get that cleaned up. So I'm going to put a link to the company I work with that can help you gain a business credit score and apply for business credit to help you in this category as an owner if you really plan to build a great business, but are going to need some capital to get it funded and get it to the place that you want it to be. So that is you for capital and your responsibility for raising capital. The next one here is what I call identity and brand. So identity is especially kind of as solopreneurs and these smaller business owners, and if you're a coach or a real estate agent or, really where you are the brand. That's great. You can be the brand, but it's more about your identity. And a lot of my students that come in, they're not clear on what their identity is. And the identity means is how to think about it is if people are out gossiping about you in the marketplace, good gossip, not bad gossip, but if people are out gossiping about you in the business, what are they saying about you? And you want to be intentional about creating that identity that it's out in the marketplace, that if somebody's talking, your name is connected to the identity you want it to be connected to. For example, that there's the Wealthy brand is we have the brand as a business, as a financial education company. And then Christina Wise has an identity. And my identity for this business that I've been very intentional about is if people are out in the marketplace saying, hey, I need help with my money. Does anybody know a money coach or somebody that can really help teach me with my finances? I want to be associated with the word money and need help. And that's the intentionality there. So that's what's happening. You might be here because somebody said, oh, you'd want to learn a little bit about money? Follow Christina Wise or go to our YouTube channel, for example. So that's an intentional identity. Christina Wise is mentioned and the same word that money is mentioned. So again, as an owner of your business, you want to be very clear and conscious of what's the identity that I want to create out in the marketplace, that when people talk, my name is mentioned. And that's the goal there. So, and then brand is just more of the marketing pieces to that. But how does your brand go out in the marketplace? Now, brand and identity can be separate or they can be the same. So I like Christina Wise, this identity of this money person, but brand is more wealthy and wise money, which are all the components that you might recognize by a symbol or something or the website that is a reflection of my identity. So again, those are more the components of the identity versus the identity itself. All right, this next word is leadership and culture. So leadership, again, as the owners, we're going to have to lead. And leadership is a skill. So we have to develop these leadership skills. We may need to learn these skills. Most of us are terrible leaders at first, and we can become better leaders at time. But our job of leaders, hopefully, is to inspire those that work with us, but we want to lead them to the vision that we've articulated. So good leaders are great communicators. They're able to articulate what they want and need and those expectations. They're able to articulate the futures and inspire people to want to join them along. Like, hey, let's go create 1 million people to become millionaires. And then you build a culture of a team. They're like, yeah, we're all in this. We as a team and as a company, we want to be on board because we are very inspired by helping 1 million people become millionaires, which is our mission of our company. So that's the leadership. Now, leaders are great at making requests. And this is very key, that leaders have to make requests and ask for what they want and need that the business needs. And so to build this business, you're going to have to get really good at asking for things and delegating things, but delegating things in a way that says, hey, I have a request. I'm asking you to do this by this period of time. And a request has these 3 parts. A request needs to have a consequence, meaning if you don't perform on this, there's a consequence attached to this, or it could be a positive one. If you do this, there's a great consequence. And it needs what's called conditions of satisfaction, means I'm making a request and these are all the things that need to be done so that it's satisfactory. And then the final piece is there needs to be a timeline. So leaders, great at setting visions, bringing people along, building the culture, which is the collective identity of the business, and then working with those to make sure that you're making requests and your team is fulfilling on those as you expect. So leadership and culture. And the final one here above the line, is education and skill development. Just on this page alone, I think we can ascertain, like I said, business is hard. It's why I love business, because it's a challenge. Every day is a new day. There's always a new problem to solve. It never gets easy, and that will go on forever. But that's what I love about business, is the fact that it's hard and challenging, and there's always the next place to grow. But because of that, it's really important that business owners heavily invest in their education. It needs to be a very sizable line item on your profit and loss, for example, but then to be very discerning where you get educated and who you're getting educated from, because either business owners aren't spending enough to learn, or they're spending way too much probably learning from the wrong people and not getting any traction. But obviously, the learning never stops. So again, this is all above the line. This is your job as an owner to be responsible for all of these 6 that are above the line. Now, below the line, these are what are called operational concerns. And operational concerns means that just that they're not above the line strategic and all, but they're the operations of the business that keep the business going. And the reason why, if you're a solopreneur, you're responsible for all of these. This is why it can be very difficult, and that's why those incomes are really low. As a visionary, as a creator, as a high quick start in the Colby, for example, we're usually, we like the strategy, we like the vision, we like taking the risks, we like being the creator, we like being on stage, all these different pieces. Where so many fall down is they don't have an implementer or integrator or operations person that this is a foundation underneath that makes sure that all the goals up here are happening. So usually it's one of the first hires. You need to have an assistant that's going to help you more in the administrative pieces of these at the beginning, but then you eventually will need an operator. And I've had many businesses, and I've always had an operator. My businesses will not succeed if I don't have somebody to help me with these below the line pieces, even though I'm pretty good at all these above the line. So the first one is sales. Sales. Sales is the manufacturing of transactions. No sales, no revenue. And so many entrepreneurs who get into the business, they're afraid of the word sales. In fact, I just went to a conference last week, in fact, and they were talking, it was a little sales 3-day event, and it was all about sales and profitability. And those that were running the event said, hey, how many people in the room, what words come up when you think of the word sales? And it was so interesting. I mean, because I love sales, and I just couldn't believe that almost this entire room was saying, oh, sales feels slimy, or sales feels crooked, or sales feels greedy, or sales feels ick. So this entire room, I don't know, there's probably about 50, 60 people there, maybe 100, I don't know. But a majority of the room had this negative connotation with sales. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, you're never going to make money in your business if you don't love sales. So sales is below the line. What that means is that you can outsource sales. Like if you do hate sales, you could outsource it, but you're going to have to train them on how to sell your product, which would probably be pretty hard to do if you don't know how to sell your own product and you're not good at it yourself. But even if you hired somebody to do sales for your organization, you're still selling your vision, you're still selling your identity, you're still selling yourself one way or another. So sales is very important as a skill to develop as an owner, but it's more the mindset. The mindset is you want to love sales, just like you want to love your money. And isn't that interesting? More sales equals more money. So those two go hand in hand, but we want to love our money and we want to love sales. But sales is below the line, and it's an operational concern of the business, and to make sure that those sales are happening on a regular basis like a machine. Everything below the line are these operations, is the parts of the machine. So you have to have continuous sales, regular sales, to make regular money. All right, the second one is management. And people, processes, and systems have to be managed. And the bigger the organizations, all these big organizations, they might have hundreds of managers. Why? To keep all the people, processes, and systems working as intended. So management is really important. And management, again, it's below the line, so your operator might be your manager. I'm a pretty good leader. I've led for a long time. I've led many businesses. I've done all the things. I, Christina, suck as a manager. I'm not good at management. It's not a skill that I have. It's not a skill that I want. And if I were responsible for management, things would fail pretty quickly. So I have to have somebody on my team that manages the operations and manages the people and all the things. So management, things have to be moving and they have to be on track and managed. So that's an important part of business. The next one is technology and SOPs. So pretty obvious. Your SOPs are kind of your internal systems, your standard operating procedures, and for business to be sustainable. And what I mean by sustainable means predictable. It's pretty predictable how much money you're going to make next month and the month after that and the month after that and so on. That's called sustainably profitable, predictable. So it will never be predictable if you do not have systems that are running and that people are following them and doing what they're supposed to do without you micromanaging and hovering over them. So your systems have to be there. The technology needs to be there, and to be very, conscious of what technology and tech stacks do we need in the business to be able to operate this machine as intended. And wealthy, we have a really sizable tech stack, like how the technology stack together. And I'm always talking to the team about, is that on the SOP? Where are we doing on the SOP? Do we need to build an SOP? Are you following the SOP? All right, just a few more here. The next one is marketing and lead gen. Pretty obvious. Again, below the line means that you can have an operator, you can outsource these things. You can't outsource these things on the top. But just to talk about outsourcing for a second, I see so many owners outsource too soon, try to buy the results or buy the revenue by kind of outsourcing, and spend way too much money by not even hiring people, but outsourcing to the experts out there. I'd say that my biggest financial mistakes in business have been doing just that, is outsourcing. Why? Because I didn't want to be responsible for marketing. I didn't like marketing. I didn't like the lead gen piece. I wanted somebody else to do that. So I'd spend $10,000 a month or something trying to hire somebody to do all that for me. For me personally, it's never worked out. I just wind up being, having $100,000 less that I could have kept myself had I learned about marketing or these different elements. But marketing means creating markets. And what marketing is, it's a little different than lead generation, but marketing is, like I said, the distinction is to create a market. What that means is create audiences. And so we're creating audiences on Instagram. We're creating audience on YouTube. We're creating audiences on LinkedIn. We're creating audiences on Facebook. These are today's day and age is social media, and we're using these platforms to build audiences that people know who we are and what we do. So that's the first part. So the first part is to build as big, as many eyeballs and audiences as we can, and to get good at that. And the caveat to that is I say you want to choose one that you're going to get really good at. And if it's Instagram, go all in on Instagram. If it's Facebook, go all in on Facebook. Choose your poison and just gain the skill of at least one of these platforms and the marketing vehicle, and understand kind of the basics of a funnel and the basic of these marketing pieces that you need before you outsource. And then once you've got this basics done and you understand it, now you can outsource to maybe professionals who can help you amp it up and take your numbers by, because they're better at it than you are. But get good at one. Now, lead gen is a little bit different. Lead gen is when we identify somebody that actually wants our product and service. So at Wealthy, for example, part of marketing is through this YouTube, is that hopefully I'm giving you really good high value content. You're watching these, it's helpful. You subscribe, which then makes this part of my audience, which is great. And that inspires me to want to give more content. And then we've got this really nice reciprocal relationship. And that's what we do when we're building these audiences. Now, if you're here a subscriber on my YouTube, you might be part of my marketing that got you here as part of that audience. But you may or may not be a lead, for example. Now, what do I do to try to entice you to become a lead? It's kind of terrible to say this out loud. It sounds terrible, but it's business. But a lead is when I'm saying something like, hey, I have this workbook for you, and it's this free workbook that will teach you that you just fill in the blanks, and it will show you how much money is enough, and we'll get all of your numbers in one place so you can get on track to move towards becoming a net worth millionaire. If that's valuable, click this link and fill out the form, and I'll send you this free workbook. Once you do that, now you're on my email list, and now you get to get all the stuff that I send on my email. And we love writing emails, and I love you to be on my email list. So please do one of those things where you get to be on my email list and get to learn everything fun that we have going on and yada, yada, yada. But that's the difference between being an audience and being a lead. You might have big audiences and never be generating leads. It needs to be a call to action, all these different things, which was why marketing and lead gen is a really big part of your overall business. And it just needs to be operationalized, and you need to get good at it. All right, so the next one is production. And in business, you're always producing things and you're building things, you're creating new things, but that's called production. And I brought this out. This is called my Curbs for Business workbook. And I'm really proud of this. I just wrote this. I wrote this book. I think it's 250 pages or something. And this is the guide that we use, that I take all my Curbs for Business students through to learn all these different elements of business. And we're talking about some of them today. But I produced this. I wrote it. It took me 3 months of probably 10 to 12-hour days to write this thing that was going to become a new offer in the business for this new program now that we're selling and that we have students in, for example. But that's all part of production. And we had to produce it to create it. We had to produce the manuals. We had to produce all these different pieces for this new offer that we're doing, but that's called production. So we're always producing something or trying to improve something. So again, just another really important concern of the business. And the final one here is called fulfillment and customer service. And we need to keep people happy. And if we've done all these other things really well and we fall down on the customer service, we've worked really hard for nothing. So I know a lot of marketers, for example, they're expert marketers. They can make money by selling ice to Eskimo because they know all the copywriting, they know all the hacks, they know all the things. But they fall down on customer service, so they can never get that traction. They always have to be selling the next $1 million idea to keep that money coming in because they're not taking care of the customers when they go through. And so, there's every time you're trying to generate more revenue and really scale your business, you have to spend more money to do it. The least expensive way to grow your business is through referrals. And what fulfillment is trust production. It means you're producing trust, that you're saying, hey, I'm selling you this, you buy it, I fulfill on that according to my promises, you're satisfied and happy. We've created trust. Now, because I've created that trust with you, you'll go tell other people. So at Wealthy, we spend so much time on the fulfillment piece to really make sure as a company culture that our customers feel taken care of and that they know that we do care. And we put a lot of time and energy in that. And hence, a significant portion of the business is by referral. All right, so again, today's video was a long video, but I wanted to get all 12 parts of the business into one segment here, with really ending to understand that again, I'll get my hammer. Our job as a business owner is we're building all of these parts over time. And if one part's missing, it'd be like on the bicycle. If the brakes aren't working, it could cause an accident. There could be a problem. And if you get a flat tire, you've got a problem. Or if it's missing a spoke, you've got a problem. So you have to have all of these components of the business. But again, that's what makes business fun, is because it's the challenge of building something great. And then what's awesome is once you have the parts built and they're working, it's this machine, and it's this cash machine, and it's leveraged, and you have people working for you, you have operations and systems and all these things that you get to make more money and enjoy your life by owning and doing something that you love. That is very rewarding. So that's why we do this, so that we can have control over our own life. But the only way to do that is to get a business that works. Otherwise, it's just burnout and a lot of money down the drain. And I don't know. I'd say for most of us, it's probably not satisfactory to work this hard for a business with no benefits and no guaranteed vacation for only $65,000 a year. All right. Thank you so much. If this was helpful, please make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all the normal things. And if you would like to have a little worksheet that lists all 12 of these and where you can grade where you are, and this little worksheet that says these are different places that I can improve over the next 90 days in one or more of these areas, just put a comment below and I'll send you that worksheet. All right, that's what I've got for today. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.